Hey guys, churches and their congregations have always been really important to the people of the state of Mississippi. Today, we're going to take a look at the church building of a really old congregation, First Presbyterian Church in Aberdeen, Mississippi. Come along with us. Let's go explore. The First Presbyterian Church of Aberdeen was organized in 1840. Around 500 people called Aberdeen home. On February 22, 1840, a guy named John White was installed as ruling elder. The first meeting in the new church building was on March the 4th, 1847. This first church building was in the middle of the business district, and with the growth of Aberdeen, the property was sold, and construction began on a sanctuary in 1878 at this present location. In one article I read, it says that the congregation attempted to buy the lot, or the old church building, from the Primitive Baptist Church, but they sold to the Catholics instead, and St. Francis is still sitting on that lot today. The Presbyterians' original lot was eventually sold to Joseph and Charles Eckford, and they made a drugstore there. Miss Mary Frances Garth Gregg donated the lot on which this present building stands. That structure was completed in 1878 for a cost of $7,500. The plaque reads, "To the glory of God and in loving memory of William Carr Macmillan, a living epistle of Christ, known and read of all men, and his only son, Thomas Terrell Macmillan, beloved for the perfect service rendered, duties done in charity, who in death not divided gave up their souls to the God in the storm, April 6, 1909. Fold them, O Father, in thine arms, and let them henceforth be messengers of love between human hearts and thee." As you look around this beautiful sanctuary, I want you to pay particular attention to the stained glass, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the church history. On February the 3rd, 1895, the church burned. It's kind of interesting that the two previous homes on this lot had also burned. But nonetheless, the church caught fire just as evening services were just about to begin. The fire was so hot that the church bell melted. The church, of course, was rebuilt on the same site, and the present building was completed in 1896. The ladies of the Presbyterian Aid Society were instrumental in raising the necessary funds for the construction of this new church. The sanctuary, of course, has undergone repairs and a few small changes both inside and out. A darker mortar was added outside to try and help bring out the beauty of this Gothic church building and its colored stained glass. There are small little plaques in the bottoms of each window in honor of certain individuals that have been members of the congregation. The Presbyterian Church split in the 1980s, and the members that remained in this building became a part of the Presbyterian Church USA. Let's take just a second to look around the sanctuary, and of course notice my favorite, the windows, but the dark pews and the curves and the lines and the angles of the architecture. I just think there's something special about the architecture of these old church buildings. As we go out the door toward the Memorial Gardens on the west side of the sanctuary, I want you to notice the little brass plaque right there on the wall. That's in honor of a guy named Richard Gates. He was a special congregant here, and he took great pride, I suppose, in making sure that door was locked each and every service. Of course, now we're looking out into the Memorial Gardens, and it really is a quite beautiful, calm, and serene place. We'll head back inside now, and there's one really neat story to tell you. A while ago, when a guy was crawling underneath the building to help with the repairs, he discovered a secret room. Now, this room is tall enough for you to stand up in, and it is located right about where you're looking now. Not exactly sure what this room was used for, but we've decided maybe it was used during the days of the Underground Railroad to help hide enslaved people. I'd like to know if the walls of the room were constructed out of bricks and mortar or wood, because remember, the building burned in 1896. The funeral service for Mrs. Mary Frances Garth Gregg was held in this church building on Thursday, June 17th, 1897. You'll remember Miss Gregg donated the lot, and she was also on the building committee for this church, or at least the original church building. Mrs. Gregg was one of my favorite citizens of early Aberdeen and was quite the business lady, and is buried in Oddfellows Rest Cemetery as Mrs. General Gregg. She built a room onto her house so that young ladies could teach piano. And I thought looking at this cool old organ was a good time to tell you that story. The local newspaper read, when her last journey to the holy sanctuary was made, all ages and classes were assembled there to do reverence to one so eminently worthy of highest regard. There are so many beautiful and interesting parts just to this building alone that I hope you've been able to appreciate some of them today. The history of this location, and of course the influence and service of this congregation, has been so integrally important to the community over the years. Hey, don't forget, if you like this kind of content, hit that like button. I hope you get a little feeling of what it was like to be here today and can appreciate this beautiful church building. We want to thank the people of First Presbyterian Aberdeen for letting us tour the building today. I hope you've enjoyed it like we have. Thank you.